Occurred July 15, 2003, 21:40. Location: Spencer. In shape: triangle. Duration: 5 seconds at approximately 9:40 as I was sitting in my yard stargazing. Something that made me think of a comet passed directly overhead. It was not distant, but very close and large. Triangular in shape with flash in the rear, greater on the outer edges than center. The entire shape seemed to be lit. It may have been white flame shooting from the back of the object, and I am certain there was a flash of blue in the center. There was no tail to speak of, so I am fairly certain it was not a comet, after all. Maybe a military vehicle? So peculiar. I do wish I'd had my camera. I live 3.5 miles south of Spencer on Pottersville Road. Is there anything you know about this that you might share with me? No sound. So strange. I watched it pass with amazement and wonder. Because we are surrounded by tree lines on all sides, the viewing area was limited. After it passed beyond the tree line, there was some distant flashes in the sky, but this could have been heat lightning, although I did not notice them prior to the sighting. Thinking about it all night makes me certain it was not a comet at all, my initial thought, because there was definite structure to the object. Were I to associate it with something familiar, that something would be a stealth because of form and light that would resemble fuel flash feathering from the rear. As well, I did see what appeared to be a comet after turning away from this sighting, shooting off in a different direction, from a different direction. If the two sightings occurred simultaneously, they would have made an X over my front yard. The second sighting did seem to be a comet, lower than most I have witnessed, but definitely the shape, oval, with a short tail, white, without any deviating signs of being otherwise. What a night. I hope you will reply.
Occurred August 18, 2008, 2 o'clock. Location: Spencer. In shape, disk. Duration: maybe 1 hour. Characteristics: there were lights on the object. The object emitted other objects. The object made a sound. Strange acting. Flying objects viewed on night of Indiana earthquake, with 3 witnesses. On August 18, 2008, while visiting my friend who lives just up the road from me, I encountered a sighting in which I cannot fully understand. We were visiting in a loft of the garage, and my friend's boyfriend left to go use the restroom. When he came back, he quietly and calmly said to come over and look out the window, stating, "Look who's crazy now," being he had told me about seeing these things constantly since he was young. Nearly every day from how he made it out. When I came to the window, I saw a light pattern that was strange moving in the sky. At this point, I must admit I was a skeptic at best, but I do have an open mind and find his stories interesting. What I saw was a light pattern just above the tree line, moving a lot like a plane. But then it stopped, and started sinking behind the trees. Most strange thing was, when my friend's significant other said something like, "See, just above the tree line," it stopped and sank as if it were reacting to his voice. I walked around and kept watching for about 15 minutes to see if it was still there, which a little light was still visible, but it was just behind the trees. What I find most interesting about this is that on this day, Indiana had several earthquakes, which is very uncommon. On top of that, I've heard that Indianapolis Airport shut down due to an unidentified flying object sighted by the tower. I just tonight tried to find an article related to this but didn't have much success. Granted, it was a mediocre search in the grand view of real research. But that is getting me away from my story. We return to the loft to go about our conversation, and he is telling me that it's a totally common event for him. And goes into story after story about his encounters. Most disturbing was when he was telling me that a lot of times people miss these things because, as he put it, they tend to make false noises, like helicopter, planes or jets, to throw you off. That is when I felt like I was in a movie. Not 3 seconds after he got done with the word jet, I hear just that. Like clockwork. He, not being fazed by this at all, mentioned that they very well might be out there again. We pop our heads out the window and we see just that. 2 this time. I go running outside to see the show, and there it is again. He mentions that the one we saw earlier was right on top of the building we were in when he saw it, at this time comparing notes with each other, and finding out that it moved when I came up. And there they sat, above the tree line, maybe 125 feet high, and they just sink right below it, like a cat trying to catch a rodent. The last thing that I recall seeing was right before they left altogether. The second one that appeared made an amazingly bright flash, a lot like the one on a camera, and off of it shot a little orb that went into a crazy free spin through the sky that didn't seem to have any real pattern to it. And then they were all gone. That was the last thing I sighted this night. I do have one new recent sighting which is to follow in my next report.
Occurred, the 9th of December 2008, 2300 location, Spencer, in shape, formation duration, unknown characteristics. There were lights on the object. There was an aura or haze around the object emitted other objects. There were many flashing lights viewed over industrious development in southern Indiana. When I was driving home on the evening of September 12, I was nearly home when going through a long stretch of flat land in my truck I look over to the north and see what appears to be police lights. Only thing is they are in the sky. Resembled the flashing of a cop's light bar on top of their vehicles. Blue and red. Then I come to notice there is tons of these. Scattered all over the sky in this region. In formations they were just hovering, but once here and there one would switch positions. The objects were, in my guess, maybe 65 feet in the sky. Very low, right over a few buildings and animal fields. Now as of now, I haven't heard of any animals missing or anything in this neighborhood, but this is mainly because I'd rather not get labeled a nut job by my neighbors. But they didn't seem to notice me, or if that's the case, care I was watching. I was stopped for around 20 minutes. The entire time they stayed in a triangular formation, with several formations in the sky, heavy cloud cover from incoming hurricane weather, and they made no noise. Just something I've taken note of. Once I did get home I was extremely tired, and that's why I took off from watching this, as it felt like I would fall asleep in my truck, sitting in the middle of a road. Also in our local paper, the Herald Times in Bloomington, yesterday it was reported that we have had crop circles found in a nearby town of Bedford. I would be happy to send in photos of the area of sighting or of what the object looked like if needed.
Occurred, October 16, 2013, 8:40 location, Spencer, in shape, formation duration, 10 minutes pulsating red lights in formation. We noticed red pulsating lights as we were going home from church. We stopped in the Walmart lot, 823W State Highway 46, Spencer, Indiana, and watched at least 12 lights maintaining positions with each other and rising from the NW horizon, moving across the sky and disappearing at about 20 degrees above the SE horizon. No noise. Each moved smoothly across the sky, and no, what would be called running lights, could be seen on any of the objects. They were very bright, much more so than Venus would be. Not all lights were visible at the same time. That is, as lights disappeared in the SE, others would rise in the NW. The last light to pass was far behind the others.
Occurred, July 24, 2015, 12:30 location, Southport, in shape, circle duration, 15 minutes location, Southport, in 46,237 viewed orb of extreme brilliance in the southeastern sky, just a hand's width of distance, from my point of view, in perspective, from the sun. It was to the left and below the sun's high noon arc. This made it impossible to capture on camera or video. It was a very bright and sunny day. The object appeared to be within our atmosphere, and its size was approximately equal to that of a silver dollar from my vantage point. The orb appeared to have at least two bands, forming a plus symbol, which surrounded its outer shell. Those bands appeared to have several dark spots, or portholes. The most comprehensible description of this object would be very similar to two of our modern observatories attached together to form a ball, while adding an additional band to that circumference. Object never appeared to move and was far brighter than sun. It appeared to be a blue-white orb of light, very much like the white flame of an extremely high-powered torch. I used field binoculars and a telescope, in an attempt to view the orb, but the combined brilliance of it and the sun made that impossible also. I was able to clearly view the object for 15 minutes before minor clouding eventually moved across field of view. The object was gone upon the clouds passing. I researched online into various possibilities of what was being seen, but nothing is visible in that section of sky at this particular time of day. There were no reports of space junk, debris, balloons, etc. It was not Venus, Jupiter or Mars. They would not be in that part of the sky, no, that brilliant and visible at this time of day. I live in an excellent area for airport traffic and am very familiar with every aircraft that passes overhead. I am an avid watcher of the skies, day and night. I have studied them for over 25 years and have never witnessed anything I could not explain or find an explanation for, until this particular sighting. It was as impressive as it is perplexing.
Occurred the 9th of September 2017, 2030. Location: Southport. In shape, light duration, 45 seconds. Characteristics: there were lights on the object. Standing in the parking lot talking with my coworkers after closing our store for the night. The sun was almost set, but there was still light in the sky. Something caught my attention in my peripheral vision. I turned my head to the left, and right above our store in the strip mall was a bright red light in the shape of a saucer. I personally didn't see the actual craft itself. I said, "What the hell is that?" Which made my coworkers turn to look. In that instant, 3 of the 4 of us seen this bright red light slowly moving from the east to the west above our store. It then turned slightly to its right and then completely disappeared right before our eyes. As if it turned into a portal or went behind a veil. It literally disappeared. We all started jumping up and down with excitement because we know what we just witnessed together. There was no mistaking what it was. There was no tracer of light. There was no sound whatsoever. It wasn't a firework. No sound, and this light was too big for that. It definitely wasn't a drone of any sort, because as I said, this bright red light literally disappeared before our very eyes.